press conference. First of all, I want to thank you, all of you, collectively as the media, for having very efficiently, assiduously reported the activities of our ministry since inception last year, or since I resumed last year. Through you, we've been able to really actively divert the attention of the nation and the international community to the potentials of our sector, the solid mineral sector in Nigeria. It's not as if the sector had not existed before I assumed it. It had been there. But somehow, the national consciousness had not been awakened. So, one of the first things we did was to start an aggressive marketing of the sector across the length and breadth of Nigeria and beyond Nigeria. And we took the case of our solid mineral sector to the international community, highlighting the various types of minerals, the critical metals that we have and that are globally sought after. And of course, we couldn't have done this in any efficient manner without your full cooperation, because you have given vent to all our postulations, our theories, and those practicalities and actualities that we have achieved within the last 10, 11 months. So I have to thank you for that. So today, we are coming out with another quite critical milestone in the effort to reposition the sector, the solid mineral sector of Nigeria, and to recoup as much as is practicable for the government in terms of revenue, in terms, through taxes, through royalties, through the various fees payable by the operators in the industry. Hitherto, because the nation had not diverted attention to this sector, operators had been getting away with blue murder. What with the wanton recklessness of illegal operations across the sector, illegal operations, illegal exportations or extraction of our minerals, and cutting away of our raw materials, without let or hindrance. And this has led to a lot of loss of revenue to Nigeria. And so, one of the things that we did in the effort to sanitize this environment is to tighten the noose around the necks of illegal operators. One of the actions we took, you are aware, is the establishment of the mining marshals to ferret out illegal operators, apprehend, prosecute. And I'm seriously happy to tell you that this has been working. And every day I get requests from states and governors asking for the deployment of these mine marshals in their states to protect our natural resources and apprehend illegal operators. Now, because of these various efforts and others that we have put in place in terms of policy initiatives, and our knowledge that the operators have been making huge profits from this sector without the commensurate repatriation of such taxes and royalties and fees applicable to the various levels of operation in the sector back to government as they should. This led to our revocation of some licenses in the past, and you are all aware of those. I had to revoke twice now. The first time, November last year, was based on those who failed to pay their obligations royalties like fees and taxes. And the second time, a few months ago, was principally based on the dormancy of licenses and titles. Those who collected or obtained licenses and refused to operate, thereby clogging the industry and the sector and preventing serious investors from coming into the industry. So we had to clear this Augean stable. And the major reason for today's press conference is the knowledge that we've acquired since we got into office 11 months ago about the paucity of funds repatriated, paucity of funds that should have reverted to government via the various fees applicable to the various levels of operations. Now, all the new measures we have put in place, including the establishment of the mine marshals, the equipment of these marshals, and the various other technological advancements that we put in place, we've invested on in the MCO, that's the Mining Cadastral Office. There's a new mining portal there, it's called EMC Plus. There's a new IT device that ensures a smooth and hitch-free application process. When you go through that, the applications are now faster in processing, and title owners are obtaining their titles faster with less difficulties. And you're also aware of the unveiling, which I did also some weeks back, of the decision support system, a one-stop shop for all information, relevant information necessary to be obtained by applicants who want to get into the industry. If you visit that DSS, the Decision Support System portal or platform, at a click of a button, you don't need to chase any officer of the ministry around. You discover the information that you require, and you follow the steps, and you are home free. So all of these investments have cost a lot of money. In some instances, these investments have been done through a World Bank loan facility. And these things have to be recouped, repaid. Apart from the ease of doing business that we have been able to put in place into the system of the solid mineral sector, we then found out that the rates that the operators in the industry are paid, the rates are just too infinitesimal, too negligible, too inconsequential to sustain these investments, these technological advances, and we have more in the offing that we want to put into the system to enhance the ease of doing business and to open up further the sector for foreign and local investment. So we decided that we needed to do something about the old rates. Now today we are taking, like I said, a major step in the efforts to implement the 7-point agenda to reposition the sector for economic consolidation and international competitiveness by announcing a new regime of rates and charges for various services of the departments and agencies of the ministry. This is in view of the introduction of qualitative measures and human and technological capacity upgrades implemented in recent times to raise the level of technical efficiency of their services, improve traffic of transactions, and develop infrastructure to cope with the resurgence of business interest in our sector. For instance, and I've mentioned this, we supervise the successful implementation and conclusion of the mineral sector support for economic diversification, which is labeled MinDiver Project. That's a World Bank facility that's been on for a while, but we've been able to conclude all the projects under that facility. Examples include the Mining Cadastral Office, which I mentioned, the agency responsible for licensing, which acquired the new Mining Information System, the EMC Plus portal. And this enables 24-hour application and administration system that accelerated the rate of applications and access of applicants to the MCO, that's the Mining Cadastral Office. And furthermore, it has improved transparency and accountability, thus giving stakeholders worldwide the confidence to invest in the Nigerian mining sector. The Nigerian Geological Survey Agency acquired an integrated geological database available and accessible to the public. This facility, known as the data center, has made the acquisition of geological information easier for companies embarking on exploration. The Artisanal and Small-Scale Miners Department acquired the first electronic inventory of operators through the MinDiver project as well, making it easier for the department to provide training and extension services and also improve government support to artisanal miners cooperatives. You recall that we announced the establishment of cooperatives as part of our moral suasion to dissuade people from engaging in illegal operations. Beyond the impact of these agencies, the World Bank facility, through the MinDiver project, established a system for the estimation and assessment of revenues from the mining sector, established fiscal accountability and transparent framework for the Solid Minerals Development Fund, and developed local supply for chain for industrial minerals. Supply chain for industrial minerals, sorry. Since the activation of these systems, all the stakeholders in the mining sector have been enjoying the improved services, but the rates in force before these services were provided. It is therefore equitable that those who use these services to invest in the mining sector and make profits from it should be on the front lines of the government's efforts to recoup rather than pass it to poor Nigerians. Thus, in line with the powers conferred on me by the Nigerian Mining and Minerals Act 2007, I set up a committee of the directors of the ministries, departments, and director generals of agencies under the ministry, and charged them with a mandate to work out new rates to justify government's investment in the service infrastructure and to cope with the expected meteoric spike in the traffic of applicants besieging the regulatory machinery. The relevant bodies are the Department of Artisanal and Small-Scale Mining, the Mines Inspection, Mining and Environmental Compliance Department, Nigerian Mining Cadastral Office, that's the MCO, the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency, and the Nigerian Institute of Mining. There are 268 items in the rates regime, so it will be quite tedious for me to announce each item, about 268. But I'll give you the major highlights. The operators in the sector, they know these various rates, and it really concerns them. But the highlights are: 1, applicants for mining lease will now pay 3 million as opposed to the paltry sum that they were paying before. In fact, I'm actually ashamed to mention what they were paying. Now, reconnaissance permits will now attract a fee of 300,000. Exploration license will now be 600,000. Small-scale mining license will be 300,000. Quarry lease will be 600,000. And water use permit, 300,000. The annual service fee is now 31,500 naira per cadastral unit. Not per license, but per unit. Each license could have as many units. Some would have 20, 30, 40, 50 units. So per unit will now be 31,500 naira per cadastral unit for the first time. Small scale mining will now be 260,000. Quarry lease 500,000 and mining lease 1.25 million. That's annual fees. Penalties for late renewal of mineral titles will be as follows. Reconnaissance permit 600,000, exploration license 1.5 million, mining lease 3 million, and quarry lease 1.5 million. That's penalties for late renewal, not to obtain license. Royalty rate per standard weight of minerals will now cost 100% more. All royalties per standard weight, they are weight. So every royalty per standard weight will now cost 100% more of what it cost before. Barite with 42,000 naira as market value per ton now will attract 2,100 naira per ton as royalty per ton. Coal with 100,000 naira per ton market value will now attract 3,000 naira per ton. So you can see the difference. If you are making 100,000 naira per ton as market value, government is only charging 3,000 per ton. So, and this is 100% increase. So you can imagine what they were paying before, 1,500 naira. It's really mind-boggling. So gold that attracts 1 million per ounce market value will now attract 36,000 per ounce as royalty per ton. Lead zinc concentrate, which attracts 480,000 per ton as market value, will now attract a royalty of 14,400 per ton. Lithium ore, the lepidolite, at the current market value of 600,000 per ton, will now attract 18,000 royalty per ton. The lithium conzite, with current market value of 3 million per ton, will now attract 90,000 naira royalty per ton. And lithium ore, the spodumene, with current market value of 316,000 per ton, will now attract 9,500 royalty per ton. And the license to manufacture explosives will now cost 20 million to obtain. Anybody who wants to manufacture explosives will now pay 20 million fee to be given approval. To modify explosives will now attract a fee of 10 million, and sale of explosives for mining will now be 500,000 naira. Investors willing to obtain license to refine gold will now pay 5 million, and permit to operate a mineral processor will now cost 100,000. The mineral resources map of Nigeria will now cost 500,000 for those who want maps to determine the kind of investment they want to make, or the volume of minerals available on their sites, or even to determine the sites that they want to use. The map will now be available at a rate of 500,000, and the geological map of Nigeria will now cost 300,000 for those who need it. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is important to note that as part of government procedures, we held a stakeholders summit to sensitize the concerned publics to the impending reforms. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have to thank all the stakeholders for their support and pledge that we shall continue to serve them better and improve the ease of doing business in the solid mineral sector of Nigeria. Thank you very much.